There's some interesting fantasy bets on up. Have you used Polymarket yet? Yeah, let's go through some of these because you play fantasy. Who do you think the top fantasy running back will be at the end of the season?
Oh, that's a tough one. You talking about the goal line and the touchdowns? Because I want to go for a receiving back, but I think I have to go with Derrick Henry. But I mean, you can't sleep on David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs. Like, I think it's going to be one of those three.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I know everybody wants to say Saquon.
Saquon's number one.
My gut right now is like, bro, you're going to get slapped in the face later.
All right, guys, Hayes is back. Is this the 8th poker bet, man? You guys have been crushing it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 7 successful tournaments. Now going on to the 8th championship tonight. We're really excited about it and excited for all these players that's about to come out here and try and go win, you know, the 100K purse.
Oh, it's 100K today?
100K purse.
Holy crap.
50K for first place. So, you know, we got a lot of celebrities coming to go get it, a lot of competitive celebrities.
Let's go. You guys have been leveling up. The first one was like 10K, right?
Yeah. So we went from, you know, 10K on the single tables and then 50,000 for the invitationals. But now, you know, since it's the championship, let's bump it up and, you know, ramp it up and just have some fun with it.
Let's get it, baby. And you got flip apps you could bet on who's going to win and stuff.
Absolutely.
Too, right?
You know, you got the odds, the worst odds, the best odds. You got some of the poker pros that got great odds, even some of them that have bad odds. And you got people texting me like, oh, what are these type of odds? I'm like, bro, if you hate the odds, bet on yourself
Yes,
then.
sir.
If you think you go win.
Did you bet on yourself?
No, I did not. I don't think I'm going to win. I mean, it's so much to do with poker, you know, like the cards is the cards. Like you can't, you know, do anything about it. I can have aces and somebody has a pair of jacks and the jack comes on the flop. The aces are nothing. So
no, for real. Every tournament, someone gets out within the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's my goal, is not to get out in the first 10 minutes and walk around like, oh, what happened, Ace? I thought you know, was a poker pro. Guess not.
Absolutely. Who's at your table tonight?
Shoot. I think it's the Bryce Hall, Mika, Jose Canseco, Bob Maneri, a really cool group. Yeah, so we're gonna have some fun over there.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you could be the last athlete left.
That part, that's the goal, because there's a lot of trash talk coming around. Like, you know, Bryce Butler, Prince Amukamura, Pat P, and even Adrian Peterson, the GOAT himself. So
I'm excited
we're gonna
to see
have some
AP
fun.
play, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That is the GOAT right there, though.
Absolutely.
I remember having him in fantasy in high school.
Really?
Oh my God, I would win every game because of him.
That's awesome. That's crazy, because I'm about to say I didn't start playing fantasy until like 2 years ago, and like to hear people say like, oh, like I had AP back in the day, Zeke back in the day, like it's awesome to hear. Like I'm like, oh, so they were balling then.
Well, you probably couldn't play as a player, right? It's
no,
not
100%. But the crazy part is, I think you can. You just can't do it for money. Which I think, because Austin Eckler is in, you know, fantasy, so he plays with his friends. Sometimes he plays with us. Like I'm like, oh, so you can play fantasy. You just can't do it for money.
That makes sense, because they don't want you incentivized.
Absolutely,
you know.
absolutely. Because I mean, you got the inside scoop if you really want to do it. You know, like
sure.
oh, I'm about to have 2 touchdowns today. I already have the script. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's some interesting fantasy bets on up. Have you used Polymarket yet?
No, I have not.
Have you heard about it, though?
I've seen a lot of friends.
Yeah, with the election.
Yeah,
let's go through some of these because you play fantasy. Who do you think the top fantasy running back will be at the end of the season?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. My bad. I'm trying to remember who's all in the top 5. I mean, you talking about the goal line and the touchdowns, because I want to go for a receiving back, but I think I have to go with Derrick Henry, like just because, you know, he's up there. He's always getting those goal line touches. I mean, Lamar Jackson but I mean, you can't sleep on David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs. Like them boys are going. You talking about 50 points a game, and they're, you know, sharing 2 touchdowns a game. So like I think it's going to be one of those 3.
Okay,
I'm putting a hat on Derrick Henry though.
Good picks. Derrick Henry is 3rd on Polymarket right now, 18% chance.
Oh my gosh, I know everybody wants to say Saquon. I know it.
Saquon's number 1.
My gut right now is like, bro, you're going to get slapped in the face later, because Saquon's going to be number 1. I have Saquon in all my fantasies, but for some reason I don't know, he just gets weeded out of games sometimes, where Derrick Henry, when they get in the red zone, he's getting the ball.
I feel that.
So
as a Giants fan, losing Saquon was really heartbreaking for me, man.
Oh my gosh. And you lost him like next door. Like you could have just sent them anywhere else. I mean,
they didn't want to pay him.
That's unfortunate. A lot of people didn't want to play running backs this past year. I mean, the Cowboys had an opportunity to go get Derrick Henry for $8 million and just was like, no, we're going to go get Zeke.
That was too much? $8 million?
I mean, that's all he was that's what he got paid for Baltimore for. I think it was a 1-year deal.
That's a steal,
right? I mean, not many backs got paid. I mean, Austin Eckler got 2 years for $5 million. Like, and he's having a year, you know, with Washington and Jaden Daniels and them over there. But yeah, that was a not a terrible year for running backs, but I mean, you've seen all the complaints. Like they were just, you know, mad at it. Absolutely. So I hope after this, you know, this year and next year, like all these running backs can get paid because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They went to different teams, and you see Saquon balling out, Derrick Henry balling out, Also,
shout out to today's sponsor, Specialized Recruiting Group. When your company has a position to fill, are you really seeing the best candidates? Sure, you get plenty of resumes, but you may be missing an untapped resource. Ideal candidates who are not currently job searching. People who are not actively looking, but who may be open to the right opportunity. It could be the difference between a good hire and a great hire. Specialized Recruiting Group is ready to find the talent you need. Go to srgpros.com, see how our recruitment specialists with a deep understanding of experience and expertise you need can find the right fit for your business. After all, you deserve to see the best candidates possible, both active and passive. Whether you're looking for a contract or a direct hire, Specialized Recruiting Group is ready to find the talent you need. So go to srgpros.com right now to get started. That's srgpros.com. Specialized Recruiting Group, a tailored approach to hiring.
Eckler balling out, like even J.K. Dobbins, who left the Ravens and just had a winning touchdown for 30 yards, like balling out for the Chargers, and they're 7-3. So these running backs are NFL players too. Like they deserve to get paid, even though they get hurt and whatnot. I mean, you got quarterbacks getting paid, and Dak can't finish the season. Nothing against Dak, but I mean, you can't. Injuries are inevitable, but it's just a tough sport. We all know it's 100% injury proof, so it's hard to get out there and do it week in and week out with 18 weeks of football, It
is pretty nuts because they used to be one of the highest paid positions, right?
Absolutely.
Running backs.
Absolutely.
I remember
one
growing
of
up.
them, for sure. So, I mean, the market's going to continue to grow. These backs are getting, bigger and better. And I think the best way to handle it now is you see Detroit. They have, Sonic and Knuckles over there, as they call themselves. Yeah. Every team has a 1 and 2, and I think that's the way you carry yourself. I mean, unless you have a Christian McCaffrey, I mean, that's the only way you let that, horse go. But I mean, even then, like we saw when he got hurt.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason was out there balling. Like we almost forgot about Christian McCaffrey like that. But it's good to see like these NFL players that are backups getting the recognition that they, truly deserve, because they're ballers as well.
Absolutely. You miss playing?
Absolutely, every day.
You play flag these days?
I think I'm gonna be. I usually one time a year put the cleats on and play on Turkey Day. So that's always fun. We go right here at All American Park and play.
Nice.
So just get out there and play some, linebacker receiver like the old days. And, get that feeling, that urge, that competitive spirit out there.
I love it. Yeah, I bet that must be tough for athletes to just hang it up all of a sudden.
Man, especially when it's unexpected and you don't even know when it's gonna, be that time. It's a blessing when you can actually like, like Kenyon Drake, Marshawn Lynch, like, oh, you know what, I'm done. Like I'm gonna hang it up.
Yeah.
So that's the blessing when you don't know when that time is. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, for football, that's common, right? Mm-hmm, Average career is what, 2.5 years in football?
Absolutely. I want to say it was after my rookie contract, like ended up trying out for a couple of teams and then just stopped receiving phone calls. And at that moment, after a year and a half of just training and just, hoping to get that call, you don't receive that call. And it's like, okay, what do I do next? Like, do I keep training and figuring out like when I can go play again, or do you go figure out, do you go get a job somewhere? Like at that moment, I, was sitting in my garage. I'm like, well, let me text Blake. Let me text, all these NFL coaches. And at the time we started, Enclave and Key. And, it was just, getting off the ground. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go into coaching, continue to, get in that sport and, grow in that aspect. I ended up coaching at USC and then went to the New York Jets right after that. And it was like, you know what, like I really want to join my best friend and, my partner today, Blake Wynn, and, grow something special.
I love it. And the rest is history.
It's the history.
This thing you're doing with CPT is going to revolutionize poker. It already has, I think, but.
Absolutely. I mean, it's we just want to grow together. This poker community has, just tried to find that spirit, that energetic, side of it. And that's what we want to bring to the table. We wasn't trying to change it at all. Sometimes it's like, okay, like it's new. Are they trying to take it over? Right. Are they trying to be WPT, hustle? I'm like, no, guys. Like we're just trying to bring people that aren't professionals in a room to learn how to play poker. And you can also bring your personality. Like I'm not sitting at the table like, all right, I have 7 outs with 27. I'm like, well, I don't even know any of that information. Yeah. My gut says fold or my gut says call, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but I think that's the fun in it.
100%. So, you're growing the sport because each player today has millions of fans.
Absolutely,
that are gonna see them play.
And I mean, credit to them, because without them, this 7 successful tournaments does not happen without them, without the fan base that, continue to watch every tournament. So my credit is always out to them, because that's the reason, the sport is continuing to grow.
Absolutely. I saw you were a track runner on your Wikipedia.
Oh, snap. You're bringing it out the spark notes right there.
I got a fun question for you.
Oh, let's hear it.
Do you know I Show Speed?
Yes, I do.
Could you beat him in a 100-meter race?
Absolutely not. That kid is fast.
Okay.
I actually seen that. I give credit where credit is due. I do, step in when I see like the Tyreek Hill and the Noah Lyles and all that. But no, I'm not beating, Showtime speed. No,
what was your event when you were a runner, though?
Just the 100-meter. I mean, I did it as the third sport. I went from football to basketball, and then I did not want to just fall out of shape. I was just like, I guess it's track. Like, I'm not going to go play baseball. Like, I'm going to just go out there and run some track. I usually just do it to stay in shape. And, I get out there in the 100-meter and I'm getting dusted. Like, I'm playing against, or I'm running against, the Black Mamba who was at Oregon, DeAnthony Thomas. I'm running against George Farmer, who's, they were running 10 6s and 10 5s. Like,
in high school, that's fast.
Like, these guys were the fastest people in our, like, Robert Woods, Marquise Lee, like, track stars. Like, I'm the same size that I was when I was, a sophomore track runner at 220 pounds. Like, I'm running 11 flat as a PR, personal best, like at the end of the day. So like I'm just doing it for conditioning.
I feel that. So you think speed can run faster than an 11?
I mean, I'm not running 11 probably right now. Like if he wants to get a 40, like I might get at him.
You might get him. He almost.
My start, my get off is extremely fast. Now, when you're talking about a turnover, like I think that's where he can probably carry to the 100 and beat me, but maybe 40, I can definitely get him.
He shocked me against Noah Lyles. He kept up with him.
He for sure did. That was surprising. Now, I don't know if Noah was really
trying,
going, but I mean, it's still pretty impressive to see a lot of these individuals out there. I mean, they're young and getting it.
Absolutely. Yeah, Noah probably didn't want to get injured, honestly.
For sure. I mean, I even seen, I don't know if it was I Show Speed, but it was a guy going against Sauce Gardner, and he was, playing one-on-ones, and Sauce was guarding him, and then he ended up taking him over the top and catching the ball. But Sauce had a full jean sweat, like suit on, like playing 50%. I'm like, all right, bro, like you don't really want to do this. I even see Tyreek Hill getting burnt by his own kids at the camp. I don't know how serious it is, but I'm like, all right, bro, like these kids are, Sauce.
Everything's on video these days.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It's good for the kids. It's good for everybody watching. Like I think it's inspiration to be able to see people to go out there and just play football, run around, like, promote, a healthy lifestyle. Just get outside and have fun. Get off the phone, get off the game. I know gaming is big, but, just get outside sometimes.
Yeah, I love those one-on-one destroying football videos.
Yeah, I think it'd probably been destroy. Yeah,
those are dope. I don't even watch football, but I'd rather watch that than like a game, honestly.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree.
Like football is like, it's a slow game, let's be honest, like watching it,
Yeah, like you only, want to watch when something exciting happening or those tight games or, big time rivalries like, we just had with Buffalo and Kansas City when you see two future Hall of Fame quarterbacks out there. It's like, oh, snap, like this is going to the wire. Oh, it's 4th and 3 game on the line and then Josh Allen just runs and knocks off and scores. I'm like, oh, wow, like this is what you call entertainment.
Yeah, that's for sure. You probably watch it from a different lens because you can understand the intricacies of the game.
Absolutely.
But the average person's like not understanding any of that.
So I try and get like out of so much strategic just because I can like watch him like, okay, that's a run. I know this is going to be cover 3. Like knowing it that far is just like, okay. it's like when people play poker and when I talk to Rampage and Wolfgang and some of these poker pros, I'm like, bro, have you ever got back to the poker table and just played like when you first learned how to play, like just playing random hands, trying to, get lucky and hit the river? Like, do you ever get back to that? He's like, sometimes, but you kind of don't want to fall in that trap because you play, for cash so often. You obviously that's your, your livelihood, your career. So I'm like, I understand now. Like, well, shoot, I hope I never lose the fun aspect. Yes, money is money, and when you lose it, but at the end of the day, I treat poker as, you got 9 individuals at your table. Like these are the relationships that we're going to build, sitting next to, yourself. You also sit next to AP, who I've never met, but looked at him as a GOAT. Yeah. You also got Bryce Hall and, all these big time influencers next to you. Like that's the relationships you get to, create in 72 others.
Absolutely. Who's the best poker player you've played against?
Oh, wow. I would have to say Blake.
Really? He's that good?
To me, he is. I mean, whether
he's playing tonight, right?
No, he's not gonna play tonight. That's commish. He's gonna stay out of it. But no, like he's the one that taught me how to play. We used to play at the home games for very very low stakes, and I mean just trying to read him and figure him out because I think that's where my game is. Like I'm very energetic and just trying to get people's personality up and out and talking. And then you see all of a sudden somebody gets quiet. It's like, okay, they probably have a strong hand right here. Like Blake is the same person as you already probably know Blake all the time, and it's like I can't get a read on him. Like I think he has, trips or, something right here. And he's like, oh, nope, he was bluffing. Like he'll get me. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Those are the dangerous ones.
Absolutely.
When you can't read them.
I'm giving the trophy to Blake. I know everybody, says like, the red pages and wolf cakes, but I'm going to go with my best friend.
I feel that. What about hoops? I know we talk hoops a lot. Who's the best basketball player you've played against?
Oh my gosh. I mean, playing at 24 in Summerlin, like you get a lot of like, overseas players come in there. Like I don't never know their names, but I'm in there. I'm like, this dude,
they're cold, right?
They're jumping through the gym, like they shooting from like once they cross half court, they're pulling. I'm like, all right, like, and they're all your height, that, but they're true.
No, they're
guards,
in the league. I'm in the 24 league. They're
like,
nice.
I'm like, bro, 6'5", 230, like, and he's a forward, like, and I'm trying to guard him at 6 feet, 220 football player. Like, I'm like, okay, like me putting my hand up in your face is just like looking like, I don't know, how some of these hoopers are playing against like Wembley and KD, like that's literally how I look out there. I'm like, I can't stop this guy. Like I don't know.
Bro, Wemby is different. I saw a video of him standing. He was facing the hoop and he turned around midair and blocked the shot.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
Like just running and just got it out there.
Yeah, like he looked behind his shoulder. And
it was amazing. I mean, even when he shoots the ball, like the ball sits like in his palm, like his hands is still like free, and I'm like. Like the Avatar playing basketball, but no, he's changing the game. I mean, we all seen it when KD came in the league. It was like, all right, like this is what it's gonna go to. Even with Giannis, like we knew this is what's gonna go to. Like we love the Kyries, we love the James Hardens. Like that was, the game we would watch. The Russell Westbrooks, like these small explosive guards that can go, in, dunk on you, shoot a three in your face. Like now, you getting the Giannis's, you getting, the KD, the more polished KDs. With Victor, and I'm sure, in the future it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Cooper Flagg's a freshman, All-American in the making over there at Duke. And I mean, it's just a lot of talent coming out. They're different. Like these kids can score from anywhere.
For real.
It's really impressive.
Are you on this Dalton Connect bandwagon?
I'm on the Laker bandwagon. I haven't jumped on Dalton yet. I just have to continue to watch. I mean, I'm just a fan. I want to win. That's all I truly care about when it comes to, the Lakers. I mean, you got to, not even you have to support him. Like I'm going to support him until, he, doesn't do what he, has to do, but I'm always a Laker fan.
I feel that. I'd love to see Bron get one more.
For sure. I mean, I hope he has it, one more in him. That age is very serious, as we saw with, Tyson out there trying to fight Jake Paul.
Man.
But he's still out there, dropping 30-something points. AD's out there, complimenting the game really well. I mean, you got
AD's
Austin Reeves.
MVP this season.
Yeah, I mean, you already know, like it starts off like that, and then again, you got to play 80+ games. Like
Injuries,
that's exhausting. You playing every other day. You on a plane every night. Like I've never been an NBA player, but just hearing it is exhausting because just playing in the NFL, like you practice from Monday to Thursday, and you take off on a flight on Friday. You hang out on Saturday, you play that game on Sunday, and right after the game, you get on the flight and come back home. And then you do it week in and week out. And mind you may play on Sunday, and then guess what? You got to fly out on Wednesday for a game on Thursday Night Football. So that's where it's like, oh, snap. And that's, hitting every single play. And I'm like, wow, like I could imagine playing 80 of these. Like that would be exhausting, even with baseball. So
baseball's even worse.
Exactly. And I'm like, so credit to, everybody's sport, because there's always, something that, is a, a plus and a minus, and, everybody has it, but I give them credit.
A lot of injuries in basketball this season already. I mean, I saw a list. There's like 10 people that are out for like a month plus already.
I mean, I'm surprised with the what you call it, the Cavs. They're undefeated.
They just lost last night.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Well,
Celtics.
Dang, I went to watch their games. I'm like, bro, I've always seen highlights on Sports Center.
15-0 though. That was impressive.
That was impressive. I mean, from a team that you probably couldn't even
They weren't even.
If you probably bet that, like they were going to go 15-0 at the start of the season, you would have been cashing like today.
Yeah, you would have been cashing out millions.
No, that's impressive to see. A lot of these teams do it because it's it's competitive. You know, us playing basketball at just 24, like you got the best team and lose.
100%. How often you betting these days?
Not so often, just because I'm so focused with CPT and making sure we close out this year with a huge bang. I think my last bet was the Trump stuff.
Okay. You bet on Trump to win?
Yep, absolutely.
So that was a lock. Or how early was your bet? Because he was underdog at first.
He was definitely the underdog. I think I placed my bet in July.
Damn. So
July,
you had conviction
August.
in July.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't nothing insane. Like I didn't bet like tens of thousands like some of these individuals. It was just a couple of $100 just to get some skin in the game, but. Yeah, that's probably been my last bet that I've made. I'm probably gonna make a bet on somebody tonight to win CPT, but I'm trying to keep that under wraps right now.
Keep it low key.
I got about 3 people that I want to parlay, but we're
spread it a little bit. Yeah. I got Nemo tonight.
Really?
Yeah. Just because think about it, she's made the final table every time.
I 100% agree. She's really good at poker, and you can see a little bit of her chess strategies. I know her and Botez say it doesn't apply to one another, but you can see it, how it does carry over. Like, yes, I'm a football player, but I go play at 24 to play basketball. Like, some of that does carry over, whether it's, a little bit of the athleticism, the explosion, definitely the competitive nature.
Right.
So like, there's definitely some carryovers, but I definitely see, Enemo doing really, really well. She's at an extremely competitive table with Maria Ho, Rampage, Wolfgang, Paige Lipinski, Daniel Lemon. Like, that's a competitive table. So like, I'm curious to see who comes out of that table, because that's the person that, like you said, is going to be final table. Like, you can't get all of them. Like, and Nemo's sitting and Botez is at that table.
Ooh,
so
that's a stack
That's
table.
a stack table. So like, you're talking about a bunch of poker pros, a couple of people that are Bonnie and Clyde, like, which is Paige and Daniel. Like, they play poker sometimes. Like, I'm gonna see what happens. Like, the cards are gonna be the cards. You can only bluff so much, and you already know when the blinds increase, it's like, okay, like, I don't even have enough money. Like, let's just see what happens.
I remember like halfway through, like 10 people got knocked out in like 5 minutes once the blinds went up.
Because at some point you gotta just, like, you don't even have enough to play a blind, so you just gotta go all in, and there's like 5 people go all in. It's okay, Ace King, Jack 3, 4 5, and then 4 5 hits the straight. Like how does that happen?
That's how it happens, man.
But that's awesome.
Poker's unforgiving sport,
For sure. I mean, I think that's the fun in it. It's just like when we play, basketball, football. When things go our way, we're ecstatic. When it don't, like, I still think you should be ecstatic. Like, it's like dropping 50 points and you lose.
Yeah.
Like, what can you say?
It's
like,
bittersweet. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's how poker. Like, I have the best hand, but I lost to somebody underdog. And sometimes you're on the other side of that.
Right.
But that's why, like, you gotta respect both sides of it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the game, man. Who's your favorite poker player?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy because like Blake, like hanging around with Blake and Mark and all these individuals, just learning poker. Because I, just like me and you, like, we learned how to play poker about 9-10 months ago. Like, that's when I learned, and I've never watched any of these YouTubers. I didn't even know who Phil Hellmuth was until the day he came in here. I'm like, who is this giant individual that walked in? I thought he played basketball. And it was like, bro, that's Phil Hellmuth, like one of the best poker players in the world. I'm like, oh, like, I guess that shows how much knowledge I have. Just like he walked in and didn't know who Keenan Allen was.
Yeah, that was funny.
At the table, oh, you play for the Chargers? Like, oh, that's awesome. Same with Austin Eckler. So I would think just from, how people talk about this individual and, what I've seen of him, like Phil Ivey is probably, one of my favorites, him and Daniel Negreanu. Just from the standpoint, I don't know, like, I just love how charismatic they are, their character when they're, sitting at the table. Phil Ivey seems like he's very low key, doesn't really care about, all the press clippings. He's just out there, doing his thing, which, I really love. And then you have Daniel doing his thing as well. He's very, talkative, energetic, and that's how I like to play poker. So, like, I think that's why I gravitate a little bit more. So those two are probably my favorite poker players at the moment.
I'd love to see them play here one of these days. Daniel lives in Vegas.
That's the goal. So if we can, we would love to, have these are the top individuals in poker. Like, why not have them, into CPT?
Absolutely.
Daniel, Phil Hellmuth. I mean, Maria Ho's in here today. And everybody else, like, let's just get them in here, and I think that will continue to grow poker as a whole.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see Negreanu.
I get sometimes the images involved. You get knocked out by a rookie, but again, it's not professional poker because we've set it up with the blinds and everybody that doesn't know how to play and do know how to play or barely knows how to play. Like, it screws up. Like, you're trying to calculate odds and percentages and outs, and this person don't even know what they have. Like, it's like, oh, like, I think I lost. Nobody, you have, a royal flush. Like, like, it's funny. We had a table last time, like, just flips over, like, oh, I have a flush. Like, no, you have a straight flush. And we've seen our first straight flush in CPT, last tournament. Somebody had the nut flush versus the straight flush.
What?
And we just like, oh my gosh. But the person that had the straight flush didn't even know.
Dude.
I'm like, luckily he turned it over, because if he would have threw it in, that's a muck. That's a
lost,
forfeit. Yeah. But he turned it over. He's like, yeah, I lost. I thought I had something. And nope, he had something. So you have those elements. And I hope, Phil and Daniel and them don't get pissed off at stuff like that. Like, it's just like, wow, like, it hurts. But it's like, bro, that's kind of funny that that actually happened. It takes you back to the home games when you first learned how to play poker. And that's what I never want to forget. Just like when we play basketball, like, you play it because it's fun. Like, when we go to the NBA and NFL, like, it gets very business oriented. Like, we're going to do it this way. We're going to do it that way. Like, no, like, if you take it back when you're a kid, you're going to go out there and ball out.
Right.
Like, that's why some of these teams are like balling out. Like, you can see they're having fun doing it. When you're having fun, like, you can't be beat.
Absolutely.
Truthfully.
Like the Knicks last season.
Yeah,
they were all friends.
You're just like, bro, this is awesome. Like, they look like they were playing in the backyard, like every single game. I'm like, oh my God.
And they didn't have the most talent.
Exactly. And like, that's what even Boston started to look like. They just stopped caring about, not that they cared about ego. Like, it's just like they're just playing basketball.
Right.
Jalen Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Drew. I'm like, wow, this team is impressive.
They were flowing well.
It's old school Lakers with like Ori, Derek Fisher, Kobe. Like, I'm like, oh my, I've seen this before. I'm like, yeah, they can't be stopped.
Absolutely.
Like, they're not going to lose. So
did you see ego get in the way of sports for you with certain teammates and coaches and stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, different teams have different, personalities. And you talking about a football team of 53 individuals from, the highest paid individual, maybe being a quarterback or a DN or receiver, all the way down to somebody that's, a rookie making $400,000. So you see it from top to bottom, but I think that's where you give a lot of credit to the leadership, in the building. When I was in Jacksonville, you had guys like Calais Campbell, you had Paul Posluszny, making sure the group stayed tight, no matter what, each individual made. And I mean, even at times you see like, hey, I got a $90 million contract, but hey, we're going to spend X amount of money on, making sure all the players get Chick-fil-A before every single game. And they would pull that from their own checks. And it was like, wow, like, that's awesome. I mean, you see it all around sports now. Like, even Showtime with the Dodgers, he was like, take a piece of my check and go get good players.
Whoa.
And I'm like, why don't teams do this all the time? Like, I get it, you about your money, but if I'm sitting in LeBron's seat, I'm like, bro, take about $50 million from me or 100, whatever the number is. Like, I have so much money at a point in time. Like, take a little bit of this money and let's go build a championship team. Like, go get a bunch of ballers. I'm not saying like,
he did offer that last season, actually. I remember.
Yeah, and then took a max contract. Like,
they couldn't find anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you can go find somebody if you're a Laker. Like, like that organization can go get anybody they want. Fact. It's like the Dodgers is just like the Yankees. Like, it's just like the Cowboys. Like, these are like America's teams you're talking about, like in the biggest markets. Like, you can go get these players if you wanted to. Yeah, it may cost you a little bit of extra, but you got a player willing to give you that, amount to do so. So, I mean, to each his own. Like, I'm that type of player where I'm like, hey, if I got to take a pay cut to create a dream team around me, like, I'm down for it. Because, like, that's going to just bring in so many more banners, bring me so much more money from, on the court, off the court. Like, I think, like, how you look at yourself and the people around you, like, that's, your network, which is, your best work. So that's how I like to follow it.
Yeah, two things on that. The off-the-court money, if you play it right, is more than the on-court money. You're seeing it with Tom Brady and a few other players.
Investing into all these sports. No, absolutely.
Yeah, secondly, Jalen Brunson, when he took that pay cut, he got a lot of hate. What did you think about that?
I don't think that's fair, and I don't even think I've heard that hate. Like, can you like brief me on it?
People were just like, why would he take? Because it was a huge pay cut. It wasn't like a couple million. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was tens of millions, I believe. And people were like, why would you do this? It's not even a guaranteed chance of winning a championship.
Yeah, I don't understand why people would hate somebody that wants to purely win a championship for the city that he's in. Like, I don't see what the hate is. Yeah, you're not, the top 10 player, that's I guess the highest paid player in that position because you took this pay cut, but why is everybody worrying about my personal financial issues? Like, for some reason, when we talk now, like out in the world, we can't talk about financials, but yet mine is public and you feel like you have, a say to be able to come in it. So, like, I would say, like, block out the haters, which I'm sure he's done. It's like, bro, like, my objective is to win a championship for New York. Like, that's been the goal since day one, and I still believe it. And if management believes it, like, take this money. Like, let's go figure out how to do it. And I give credit to him because I didn't even know that till you just told me right now.
He was getting a ton, like commentators all over Twitter. Yeah, it was a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's a tough topic, but, bro, they're making so much money. Like, imagine, like, what's an average baseball salary? Like $50 million a year?
It's a
like,
lot, yeah.
Bro, like, if you didn't pay me for a year, like, you think that's gonna hurt after I just made 50 last year? Like, especially if you manage your money correctly. Like, you're talking about money that just you can retire after that, contract. And theirs is like 8-9 years, right, for baseball. So, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think players should be getting hate, for trying to, win a championship for the city that, they're playing for. Like, I think that's always a goal in any profession we're talking about. Like, you want to win the championship, the Super Bowl, the World Cup. Like, that's the goal. So yeah, I don't agree with the hate towards the players.
Yeah,
at all.
I thought
whether you're a commentator, whether you're a fan, like it would just be wild to me to hear a fan say that, like, oh my gosh, you took a pay cut to try and win a championship. Like, it just sounds weird as I'm saying it right now.
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
Yeah, because sometimes if like one or two guys are taking up 80% of the salary, it could hurt the team, right?
Absolutely. Like that's old school basketball where two people get paid and you just fill the roster with the rest of the people. Like,
yeah.
Why not get 5 like elite starters? Shoot, maybe it's stretched to 6. Like, you can have 6 men of the year. Like, I think that's the best team, especially if you take out ego. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it with teams right now. 1 through 5 are all solid players that could get 15, 20 a game. And that seems to be working.
That's the best. Like, it's you like when one player can get you, 40, 50, every once in a while, like, every 10 or so games. But it's like, you got to figure out a way to be consistent. That's every sport. If you're not consistent, you're not even going to make the playoffs. And if you're not consistent in the playoffs, you're not going to win the whole thing, because you got to win 4 out of the 7 games to be able to, go to the thing. Like, yeah, you can drop 40 game 1, probably 15 game 2 and win, but shoot, if you drop 8 the next game, like, that other team gets that momentum. And if they can keep grabbing 5 people that drops 15, sometimes 25, and like, those are the teams that win.
Consistent, yeah. And these days you need a bench too.
Yeah, absolutely, because everybody got to sit down. Like, because you can't go round 1 7-game series, round 2 7-game series after you just played 90 plus games during the season, and now you're going to go play an extra, 28 to 30 something games. Like, that's a lot on the body.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're trying to peak in the finals. Like, that's what you're essentially trying to do. You're trying to treat it like it's a stock. So when you get to the finals, like, I'm peaking at this time. Like, that's how all the sports is. Like,
yep. I know it's early in the season, 15 games in, but there is a polymarket futures bet on who do you think is going to win the title this season. Who do you got right now?
Boston.
They're actually the favorite. So they're
like that's a team that you just you can't I don't see a missing spot in that team. Like with Jalen Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Drew. I mean, bro, like
Derek White,
even what's the old timer? Horford, like, he's popping threes like he's Tatum in them. Like, he's not even playing center anymore. I'm like, bro, how do you beat this team? And that coach is like 0 to 9. I forgot his name. But yeah, he's one of my favorite coaches in the NBA. Like, he gets that group going. Like, you can tell, like, they're playing basketball with egoless, opportunity out there. And when you see that, like, I mean, as an athlete, I'm sure you see it as well. Like, it's refreshing to see, because you can see some guys where it's like, oh, pass that individual the ball, and you just watch that individual all game. Nothing against, like, guys like, Luka, when he didn't have Kyrie, and Clay now. Like, it was impressive to see him drop 50 points a game, but I'm like, he's not going to go anywhere, like, because he's the only one scoring. There's nobody else on the team. Now, when you see Kyrie, it's like, okay, you got Luka dropping 25, Kyrie dropping 25, and shoot, if you get Clay dropping 25, like, oh, that's 75 points right there.
They
like,
got a chance.
Like, so, like, teams are starting to realize, like, everybody's following suit. Like, you just have to do it. Like, it's the pattern, and you want to be on the forefront of that, when you see it, like, as a GM, as a head coach, like, but some people are stuck in their old ways, and, that ego is a problem.
Absolutely.
To any aspect in life.
Yeah, we'll see if you're right, man. They got a 25% chance right now, so.
Yeah, well, I'm going Boston. That's and I hate Boston. I mean, as a Laker fan, I hate it, but I genuinely love the basketball that they're playing.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. Well, dude, it's been cool. Where can people keep up with you?
Yeah, appreciate you. I mean, shoot, I'm Pullard on Instagram. I'm always going to be in the forefront of Celebrity Poker Tour. Shoot, tune in tonight, and shoot, we're going to have some fun.
Yes, sir. Keep in tune, guys. Peace.
Yep.